Hello and welcome to the overview of the F-gas system. So in this tutorial we're going to go through how you create systems, how you create cylinders and how you create those log entries for your F-gas. So the first thing we need to do though is make sure you've got the module enabled. So we need to go to Settings, Staff, select the user that you want to use the F-gas system, go to Login Privileges, scroll down until you find the category F-gas, and tick Access to F-gas and all the relevant tick boxes that you require that person to do. Once you've done that, just click on Save and Close. So now you'll see the F-gas module, and that is in between the Jobs and Invoice module, F-gas. So let's have a look at the F-gas module and see what it can do for you. So when you go in for the first time, you'll see the first tab, F-gas logs. This will show all the log entries that you've put in previously, or any leaks or any other types of logs. You can sort them by a date range here, you can sort them by engineer, and you can also sort them by what type of log types they are. But the first thing you really want to do is create a system. So we're going to go to the Systems tab and we're going to create New, and we're going to put in a company we want to create the system for. Once that in, we can start putting in the description of the system, a reference, and a plant location. The next thing we want to do is also put in the refrigerant type that you're going to be using for this particular system. So we've got on the drop down, we have quite a few that have already been prepared for you, but you can add more of these if you so wish. But I'm just going to use one we've done earlier, and as you can see it's got the GWP and you can see there's 675 in here. So the next thing I want to do is put the design charge of this particular system. I also want to put the initial charge as well. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to have a look at how I can create a next leak test due. So as you can see here it says no commissioning date or last leak test found. So to put the commissioning date in, I must go to the second tab on the system, Installation, and put in the installer of the system, which will automatically put in the commissioning company as well. Obviously if it is different, you can select a different company. I'm now going to put in the dates for the installation date, and I'm also going to put the date for the commissioning date. Whilst we're here, we might as well do the warranty period as well. So as you can see, I've put in 12 months and it's exactly gone to 12 months from the day I installed the system. So what you can also do here is you can enable some warranty reminders. So it might be a case that in about 30 days before the warranty is due, you might want a little pop-up to tell you that you might want to get in contact with them to say, do you want to extend the warranty? So what you can do is you can tick the box Enable Warranty Reminders, put in the days before the expiry, and click Set Up Reminders. From here you can then double click on the user or the groups that you wish to have that reminder. Just press OK once you're done. So let's go back to that detail screen now, and now as you can see the next leak test due is today. Well, that can't be right, and that's because we haven't put the months in here. So I'm going to pretend we're going to put 12 months, and as you can see it's automatically changed in 12 months time. So now what you can do is you can enable leak test reminders. And you can do the same as you did with a warranty and say that you're going to get a reminder 30 days before it's due, set up the reminders, put the people in that need the reminder and the groups that need the reminder. Once you're done, again, just click on OK. So once the initial setup of your system is done, let's just click on Save. We have a pop-up and it says, would you like to select a cylinder for the initial charge? So what you can do, if you have got a cylinder and you've pumped that cylinder gas with the initial charge, you can say yes and you can start creating a log entry from there. If not, and you press no because the system was already built with the initial charge, then it will just create a little log entry just down below here saying that was the initial charge of this particular system. So that's it now, you've got your main system. But there's a couple of things you need to do before to really complete it. One of them is going to the equipment and add any of the, for example, air conditioning units that make up this particular system. So we click on the equipment, click on Add, it will automatically find any aircon units you have for that site, and you just select them and you click OK. Once it's in, you'll see it in here, and that's fantastic. So the next thing we need to do is we might decide to put in some notes for the system. So that means you can put anything you like in here, any particular aspects of the system, you can put all in your notes. But also the next tab, jobs. When you created this system, you might have decided that it is actually a job that you want to create for it as well. So from here, you can go to jobs and you create on new, and you can create a whole job sheet. Don't worry, you can link existing jobs back to a system if you require. The next tab's documents, so you can add any documents. And the next tab after that is leaks. And this will show you all the recorded leaks that you've got into the system. So I'm going to go back to the detail screen now, and we're just going to talk about the logs here. So as you see, there's a little note here saying info. In order to keep systems in a valid state, F-gas logs need to be added in a chronological order. So if you're not receiving your logs back in a week's time, you just have to make sure you do them in order that they come in from that engineer. Anyway, if you wanted to create a new log, you simply just create new F-gas log, and you can either add, remove, or do a leak test. You can also do any corrections or record a leak if you so wish to as well. So for example, I'm just going to remove some gas and click removal, and I'm going to select the cylinder details we're removing the gas to. So as you see on the drop down, I've got nothing at the moment. So what I need to do is I need to click on the plus sign, and this means I can now add a new cylinder. So here I'm selecting a van as well for that cylinder, and you can see that there's an engineer there. I'm just going to click OK, and that creates the cylinder. As you can see, it's completely empty at the moment, but I'm going to remove 50 from the system into this cylinder. There you go. So we've removed 50 and it's gone into that cylinder. So you can now see the initial charge, the actual charge has gone down to 50 here. So that's also put in another log entry to say that there's been 50 removed from this particular system. So if I click save and close, that is how you create a system and put a log entry into the system. So the next thing we need to do is we need to go to cylinders. So we did create that cylinder just earlier on, and as you can see, it's down here and it's down to 50 kilograms, or up to 50 kilograms, because we put the gas in from the system into this cylinder. But it may be that you want to create your cylinders before you even use the systems. So what you can do is you can click on new, and again you can start creating all your cylinders in here. So you can fill in the description, serial number, what the refrigerant type is, the tear, the initial charge, the capacity, and who the supplier is. What you can also do here is you can also put the start date of the rental if you're renting these cylinders. And you can also then put the end date of the rental agreement as well. What you can also do is enable reminders for that particular rental agreement too. And similar to the rest of the reminders in Clik, you just click on user setup and you decide who will receive that reminder. So again, it could be users and it can be groups, and once you're done, you just click on OK. And here you have location details, so where is that cylinder basically? And you just click on select, and you can select a site or a vehicle that cylinder's on. I'm going to select the van again. So each cylinder will have a notes tab and it will have a documents tab. Now I'm going to save that cylinder, and again it's going to pop up and say, would you like to create the initial charge? In this instance, I'm going to say yes, I am going to create the initial charge. And there we go, created it. So we've now got 0 kilograms in there. An initial charge is set to 0, but we have set the initial charge at 0. So if you wanted to refill this cylinder, you could click on Cylinder Refill. Select the supplier, select the cylinder and transfer the amount that you're going to put into this cylinder. So you can quickly put in a log entry for the cylinder as so. So now if we go to there, we can see that the initial charge was 0, and then we've now put in 100 kilograms of gas into that cylinder, and you can see the log entry is here. So that's just in cylinder logs on this tab. So a couple of other things you can do is you do have the settings refrigerant types. Now what this means is that you can put in any new refrigerant types you like, and you can also put defined colours for them if you like as well. We've got a lot of predefined ones, but you just need to click on new and you can create different types if you need to. And you'll see at the bottom here, you'll just have a space to put in a different type of refrigerant gas. You can put in the GWP as well if you so wish. Once you're done, just click on close. So we've done the cylinder refill, but you've also got cylinder transfer. So if you're transferring gas to another cylinder, you can also log that by clicking on cylinder transfer. So this cylinder, I might want to transfer it to another cylinder. Now it's not found anything, so you'd have to create another cylinder. And then you can put the transfer details in here and the engineer that's done the transfer, and you just click on OK. You also have cylinder setup as well. So what will happen here, before setting up the F-gas transaction module, you'll need to set up your cylinders, and each cylinder will need to have its capacity and current charge set. Now in this case, there's only 2 that's found that haven't got this. So what you could do is you could set the current charges to capacity. And if you do that, you can now see that the current charge is stated to 100, and the capacity is 100, and the cylinder is now valid, and you can just click on setup. Once that's done, just come out and that'll be set up for you. So that's it for cylinders and systems. But what we've also got is consignment notes. And this is a case of when you're doing it, getting rid of the waste from your cylinders, and you need to log that process. So all you do is you go to the tab Consignment Notes, click on New Consignment Note, and here you can put the details of your consignment note. You can put the cylinders that might be part of this consignment note as well by just clicking on Add Cylinder, and you can go on the drop down and find the cylinders that you want to be part of this process. So let's just choose that one, go back to details and start putting in the consignment note details. So the first bit is the waste described below is to be removed from which company and what site address. Now where's the waste going to be taken to? Probably to a waste specialist that you will find in a particular place. You can just put those details in, and then you can say the waste producer was a particular company. Now once you save and close that, that will log that consignment note, and it will just log it to say that's what you've done with that particular waste. Now that's a very general overview of the F-gas module. We are going to be doing more tutorials for it, but thank you very much for listening.